Are you enjoying the series so far? Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from. Now let's continue with our story. Warmth reached me first. Strange and gentle, not the cold forest floor where I had collapsed. My mind surfaced slowly, tangled in fragments of pain and memory. Claws ripping across my shoulder, the rogue's breath at my neck, a roar that had split the night apart. And then, him, the black armor, the moonlight on steel, the impossible look in his eyes. I forced my eyes open. I was lying on a bed far softer than anything I'd ever touched. Pale sheets enveloped me, thick and warm, smelling faintly of winter pine and something sharper, Lycan magic maybe. Soft golden light glowed from sconces along dark stone walls. Heavy curtains draped over tall windows, muting the morning sun. No pack house had ever looked like this. Wooden beams overhead curved like ribs. The architecture unfamiliar. Stronger, older, carved with runes that pulsed faintly in the corner of my eye. The air felt heavier, like the room itself was listening. Where am I? My body answered before my mouth could. Injured, aching, and wrapped in linen bandages. My shoulder throbbed where rogue claws had torn through skin. My ribs burned with every breath. And beneath all of it, the wound inside me still pulsed. A hollow pain where the mate bond had been violently severed. A door opened softly. A woman entered. Not a wolf, but a Lycan healer, judging by the silver threads woven through her dark braid and the faint golden shimmer in her eyes. She carried a bowl of water and a folded cloth. "You're awake," she said gently. Her voice was warm but not pitying, something I wasn't used to. "Good. We weren't certain how long your body would need." "Is he?" I hesitated. "Is he here now?" No, she said. "He left before dawn. But he instructed us to care for you with full priority." Full priority? For a stranger? I looked down at myself again. My clothes had been changed while I slept, replaced by a soft linen shift. Someone had cleaned the blood from my skin. My wounds had been bound neatly. No pack healer had ever treated me with such care. "Why would he?" My voice cracked. "I don't understand." No. The healer dipped the cloth into warm water and began cleaning the dried blood along my collarbone with practiced motions. "You were attacked on his land," she said simply. "The king does not tolerate trespassers, rogue or otherwise. That didn't feel right. Not wrong, but incomplete." The memory of the way he'd stared at me flickered in my mind again, intense, assessing, as though he was sifting through something only he could see. A knock sounded at the door. The healer rose and opened it. A guard stepped inside, tall, armored in black with runic etceterings similar to the king's, though less intricate. His expression was impassive, but not unkind. "The king requests an update," he said. "Is she stable?" "She is awake," the healer replied. "And healing." The guard nodded once, then looked toward me, his eyes flicking briefly to the bandages on my arms and shoulder. Curiosity lingered there, not disdain, not pity, but something closer to respect. "Good," he said. "I will inform him." Inform him, as though my well-being mattered. The guard left, closing the door behind him. The healer turned back to me. "You should drink." She lifted a cup to my lips. Cool water soothed my dry throat. When she lowered the cup, her gaze sharpened slightly. "Where do you come from, Elara?" I stiffened. "How do you know my name?" "Your king spoke it," she said simply. "He must have heard it from you." I shook my head slowly. I don't remember telling him anything." Her brows drew together, faintly intrigued. "Interesting." I looked down at the blanket again, suddenly unsure of my words, my memories, everything. The attack had been a blur. Pain and terror and his voice pulling me back from the brink. Maybe I had said my name, or maybe something stranger had happened. I touched my chest lightly. Something had stirred inside me before I passed out. Something faint, fragile, but real. No, not possible. My wolf had never. I forced the thought away. The healer pressed a gentle hand to my forehead. Rest. The king said you are not to be disturbed until your strength returns. I blinked. I cannot stay here. You can until you can stand without wincing, she said with a small, knowing smile. Do not mistake this place for your old pack, Elara. Here, we care for those under our king's protection. Under his protection, the words unsettled me, because I didn't understand why I had been claimed under it at all. I must have drifted. When I opened my eyes again, the room was dimmer. The healer had left. A soft fire burned in the stone hearth, filling the chamber with gentle heat. I shifted, wincing as the bandages pulled. A presence stirred at the edge of the room. I gasped softly. He was there. The Lycan king stood near the balcony doors, half-shadowed, arms folded loosely across his chest. Moonlight spilled through the open drapes, catching along the edges of his armor. He wasn't wearing his hood, and in the pale light I saw the strength in the lines of his face. Sharp, severe, beautiful in a terrifying way. Not gentle, not comforting, but powerful, controlled, absolute. His eyes lifted to mine. I froze. There was no cruelty in his gaze, no disdain, no hunger, just assessment, quiet, unyielding, as though he was studying something only he could sense beneath my skin. How long have you been there? I whispered. Long enough, he said softly. His voice was deeper in the quiet, brushing down my spine like a shiver. I swallowed. You saved my life. He didn't answer immediately. His gaze lingered on the healing wound on my shoulder, then on the bruise across my ribs. You were wounded, he said finally. Badly. You didn't have to help me. I did, he said. Something in his tone made my chest tighten. Why? I opened my mouth to ask, but closed it when his gaze sharpened. You should rest, he said, stepping closer to the bed. The rogues did more damage than you realize. You still haven't told me why, I whispered. Why you brought me here. Why you care. He stopped at the edge of the firelight. His expression didn't change, but his voice did, barely. You were on my land, he said. It is my responsibility to ensure no trespasser dies within my borders. That wasn't the whole truth. I could feel it, like a vibration beneath the words. Hand, he added quietly, because something in you was calling out. My breath caught. Calling out? He didn't elaborate. Instead, he took a step back and turned toward the door, his cloak sweeping behind him. You are safe here, he said, pausing only once. Heal. We will speak more when your strength returns. Then he left, the door shutting softly behind him. I stared at the empty doorway long after he was gone. Safe. I had never expected to hear that word again. And yet as I lay back against the pillows, exhaustion pulling me under, I felt that faint stirring inside me again. Soft, trembling, curious. Something that had been silent all my life. Something answering the presence of a king. Something that wasn't supposed to exist inside me at all. A whisper, not yet a voice. Awake. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned, Chapter 5 is coming soon. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. It helps my channel.